Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. My name's Gary Martinez. I'm the Summit County manager, but more importantly today, I'm the, president of the Old Dillon Reservoir Water Authority, and this is our structure here. So, yes, thank you very much. Thank you. The Old Dillon Reservoir entities felt it'd be appropriate to have a small, appropriately sized celebration of the completion of our project, and to thank a lot of the very key players that helped make this project come to fruition finally. And Karn Stiegelmeier will be doing most of those thank yous in just a minute on behalf of the county. But first, for me, I have just a few facts and figures about the reservoir. Some of you know this, others don't. And then I have one trivia question at the end that Bill Linfield can't approach. So a few facts and figures. Of course, the original reservoir supplied the old town of Dillon, which now resides at the bottom of Dillon Reservoir, just the other side of the dam over there. Built in the 1930s, about 46 acre-feet. The new reservoir now is 303 acre-feet. That was a moving target. It went up, it went down. There was a lot of things that caused the capacity of this reservoir to change over time, but it is now 303 acre-feet. The county is a 51% owner of this, 38% for the town of Dillon, and Silverthorne 11%. And there's really no importance to those figures. People were involved in this project as they felt was necessary, and that just happens to be how things shook out. The construction started in 2011, Zach. Yes, okay, good. And we completed our first fill this year. We actually started filling the reservoir last summer. At a certain point in time, we had to cut off the diversion from Salt Lick Gulch. The total cost of the reservoir, the completed cost, and this includes everything: engineering, wetlands, construction management. Tenny was really expensive on behalf of the River District, but Ray did a great job. The permits, Forest Service studies, a variety of other things. The total cost of the project was $5,723,000, which works out to really about $18,240 per acre foot. A good cost per acre foot for reservoirs in this day and age, a very good number. But it actually gets a little bit better because of certain refill rights that we have here at Dillon Reservoir. And that's not every year, but in a lot of the years, we'll have a chance to refill the reservoir or refill portions of the reservoir. So the overall cost per acre foot actually would go down some. In the case of Summit County, we have 155 acre-feet and have the right to refill all of that, so it's actually double. So our yield is a lot more than our capacity in the reservoir. Not in every year, but in quite a few years. And now for the trivia question: what is the significance of 9,900 miles? Well, that would be the amount of miles that Ray Tenney put in driving back and forth from Glenwood Springs to do the construction management of this. And of course, that's an estimate, Ray, just like all the estimates you gave us. So just wanted to point that out. Don't go to the bank with that 9,900. Building a new reservoir is by no means an easy task. Everything from civil engineering to construction, a variety of things have to be accounted for. With a project of this scale, you're bound to have some challenges, and we certainly did have some challenges here. I am not going to dwell on those, except to say that we worked through all of those with our construction partners, Fiore, who are supposed to be here and evidently either haven't arrived yet or are about to arrive. And also with Tetra Tech, our engineering firm. Again, challenges, but everybody was able to get to the table, work through the challenges, and it's good that we did, because it's better to do a ribbon cutting than to, it's more fun doing ribbon cuttings in general. So thank you very much. So I'm going to turn over to Karn Stiegelmeier, who's going to do a few thanks. We're also going to ask representatives from the town of Dillon and town of Silverthorne to say a few words. We have a few cold waters and some adult beverages for anyone who wants to partake. And we'll ask people to mill around and take a look at the finished product. John Ewert is here from Division of Parks and Wildlife. John, I have that title right? I think I do. There you are. And John was a key individual in this effort really not in construction, but in helping us determine what sort of fish population to put back into the reservoir. And John, after the speakers and everything, if people want to gather around John and get the rest of that story, it's interesting and you should hear about, you get some of the facts and figures about that.
Yeah, so the deal is, well, my name is John Ewert. I'm the fisheries biologist for Colorado Parks and Wildlife in this area, and my responsibility is to manage all the fish populations in all the public waters of the area. And when this lake was being rebuilt, it presented kind of a unique opportunity because of the fact that it's an off-channel reservoir and it's not connected either upstream or downstream in a way that fish can enter the lake from either direction. So once the reservoir was completed, we essentially had a blank slate to work with, and we could kind of do whatever we wanted to as far as the fish population goes. And so what we decided to do was, well, we have a limitation in our agency, and that is that if we ever want to stock golden trout, which are native to California, anywhere in the state, we have to barter with the state of California, and they have to obtain the eggs for us, and we have to make trades with them. And that presents some problems because it's costly and it also is unreliable. We don't have an egg source within the state for that particular species. It's not native to Colorado, but a lot of people consider it to be the most beautiful trout. It's similar to cutthroat trout, and there are very limited opportunities to fish for them. But if you have a good golden trout fishery, people are going to come, and it's highly desirable. And so what we did is we stocked golden trout in here, and that's the only species in here, and it's the only place you can fish for golden trout within a pretty large radius. And my hope is that eventually, once we have sexually mature fish in here, that we'll have our own brood stock and we'll be able to come and capture these fish when they're ready to spawn, and have our own in-state source of eggs for these fish that we can stock in other places as the opportunity arises.
So with that, I'm going to ask Karn to make a few thanks, and we'll go on.
Thank you, Mr. Presidente. On behalf of the county commissioners, I'm thrilled to see this project come to fruition. It's been a long road, but we are really, really excited about the final product. And I just want to acknowledge all the incredible hard work, commitment, problem solving every step of the way to get this project where we have it today. And so I want to do a lot of thank yous to the many, many people who had a part to play in this. I wanted to just also note that we have a lot of water here in Summit County, but the ongoing drought in the lower basin states and the levels of Lake Mead and Powell, I think, kind of highlight the importance of this. And we'll share some other highlights. The reality is that this took an alignment of stars to really come together, an alignment of hard work on the many stars that we have here. So I want to thank them. And thanks to Gary. Gary has been, as you know, a leader in this process all along. And to our partners, Town of Dillon and Town of Silverthorne. Mark Lydell is here, thank you. And Bill Linfield, leader and photographer. We have Scott O'Brien here, thank you. And I wanted to note that we don't have with us today Trevor Giles, but he was a big part of this project all along with Town of Dillon. Dan Burroughs is here, and Tim Westerberg, thank you. The Forest Service, Paul Semmer is here with us today, and he did a lot of the work on the permitting. He's the one who made us bury the power lines, and it looks a lot better because of that. Thank you, Paul. And thank you to Jan Cutts for her work as well. Parks and Wildlife, John Ewert. It was really his brainstorming, his relationship with California, and synergy that allowed us to have this unique fishery, and he'll be able to share that.
The first user of the reservoir.
I wanted to highlight the recreational aspect of the reservoir. We're happy to have people use the reservoir. There is not a better place for a 360-degree view, and easy for families, dogs. We're really happy about the recreational aspect. Colorado Division of Water Resources, Troy Wineland. Is he here today, our water commissioner? Also wanted to thank State Engineer and Dam Safety Program Bill McCormick and Aaron Gleason. They helped us work through and overcome some difficult challenges along the way. Fiore and Sons, our construction contractor, Jim Laterra. Thank you. They're the ones who actually did the work, the real on-the-ground work. Colorado River District, Ray Tenney is with us here today and putting more miles on his car. Former Summit County Commissioners, Bob French and Tom Long, were the ones that really had the foresight to get this going many, many years ago. So thanks to them. And also Eric Holgerson, former Dillon Public Works Director. Denver Water. Thank you all for being here. We have a number of representatives from Denver Water, and we worked through a lot through the Colorado River Cooperative Agreement and beyond. One of the biggest advantages of this reservoir is we can send water many places from here, including exchanges, and so that's something that's really valuable to us. Thank you to Denver Water for all of the cooperation. Finally, there has been a lot of involvement of attorneys, and they sit in the back office and make phone calls, but obviously this project, as we all know, could not have happened with all that attorney work. So first, Jeff Huntley is not a water attorney, he's an everything attorney, our county attorney, helped us throughout the process. Barney White, our water attorney, was instrumental every step of the way. Mark Wagner and Pete Ampey and Steve Jeffers are all those legal, steering us in the right direction people that we could not have completed this without. So it takes more than a village to get to this point. I want to thank everyone again, and I just want to highlight that we're really excited because we're actually in the process of using this water in an exchange to restore a wetland in Bill's Ranch, which is that way. So without this ability, we'd have a wetland that would be drying up. So we're actually using it, putting it to good use. Thank you all for being here, and Master of Ceremonies.
Okay. And I wanted to point out that the total cost they gave you earlier did not include attorney's fees. No, they actually did, but I could say it would have been double the cost, but that would be really a low blow. Sorry, Pete. So all I'm going to do now is pass the mic on to, let's go with the Town of Silverthorne and Bill Linfield.
Thanks, Gary. How many of you guys were here when we had the Old Dillon Reservoir? Most of you. And you remember what a gorgeous place this was, and this is different, but I encourage any of you to come up here early in the morning when the sky is as blue as can be and the water is perfectly calm. And at that time of day, this is just as pretty as the Old Dillon Reservoir was when it was smaller. So it's a little more industrial. That's what we face nowadays with all the requirements the state puts on us for a dam like this. But it's really a pretty place, and as the vegetation comes back, it's getting prettier all the time. Thanks to John Ewert, the fishery here is going to be extremely unique, unlike anything nearby here whatsoever. On behalf of the town of Silverthorne, we had a pretty minor role in this, but we really enjoyed working with the county and Dillon on this project. And we look forward to spending time up here enjoying this just like all of you guys. Thanks especially to Gary for his leadership. Serving on the authority board with him, it wouldn't have happened without Gary leading us through this. So thank you to Gary, and thanks to everybody for coming.
And Dan Burroughs from the Town of Dillon.
Thanks, Gary. I'd like to again thank the county for being such a big role player in this. The main thing we wanted to do is we were able to increase our raw water storage from 46 acre feet to 113 acre feet, which is almost 2.5 times, which is great advantage for us because our water supply is straight creek between the Eisenhower Tunnel and Dillon, and we don't really have raw water storage on that side, but it's also very subject to being polluted by some kind of a spill from a hazardous material truck or something on I-70. So having this alternate water supply with 113 acre feet is pretty huge. This whole process took about 7 to 8 years during this construction and design phase, and we'd really like to thank Ray Tenney and Paul Simmer from the Forest Service for all the work they did. We had lots of meetings over the last 7 to 8 years to kind of get this thing going and get the new special use permits from the Forest Service. I'd also like to really thank Eric Holgerson, my former boss, the Public Works Director who retired. We've been working on this for about 7 to 8 years, but actually he's been working on this for more like 20 to 25 years. He got the first enlargement through the water rights in the courts back in the early 90s. So a big project like this just doesn't happen. It takes a long time and a lot of planning and a lot of pieces to come together. And Eric was a real huge part of that. And unfortunately, he's on some kind of a trip, so he couldn't be here to celebrate this with us. But it's a pretty big an achievement that he got the ball rolling on this whole process. So again, I want to thank the town of Silverthorne and the county for all their hard work and getting everything together, and all the attorneys, of course, and everybody else involved in the project. But it's pretty successful for us, and we're looking forward to our large raw water storage supply. So thanks again.
Good job, Dan. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, Karn apologizes. The wind is blowing, and she skipped a couple people. Town of Silverthorne, Zach Margolis. Bill is the official representative, Bill Infield, to the Old Dillon Reservoir Water Authority, but the ex officio or whatever member is Zach. Zach has done so much for us in this process, and Zach, you deserve a good shout out. And then also we missed Tetra Tech. So Fernando Del Monte, Chris Derlew, Jim Lanzotti, the pages were blowing. They didn't get to you. There's nothing personal there, guys. And we were all able to work through things at the end, so thank you very much. All right, it's ribbon cutting time. Representative from the town of Dillon, down to Silverthorne, and some county folks are going to cut. We have some refreshments, and we can break out into small groups. Hey, thank you all for coming today. We're really happy about the completion of this project, and you are all big parts of it. So thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm in. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you.
Good. Where's the roaring crowd?